Wyoming.
You're a bibliophile, a lover of books. But we know in the modern age that books are kind of passé. Everything we're going to need to read can be found on screens or will shortly be found on screens. So the question is simple. Why books?
Well, I'm hoping that there will be something like a backlash against virtual reality. And I really believe that the physical book is part of the act of creation, part of the author's design. When Jane Austen writes Pride and Prejudice, she has a book in mind.
So the form and the format are complementary.
I think the materiality is an inescapable part of the whole artistic product, right? And to deal with it just as a text, just as a series of words on a screen, is to lose something of the truly human act of creation. When I sit here, this is a second edition of Pride and Prejudice, and when I open it, I mean, it's a mysterious kind of experience to sit there and read the book that Austen could have had in her own hands, and maybe 500 of her contemporaries had in their hands. And this idea of having a physical library in Austen's time, was part of what it meant to be educated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what I'm hearing, I love the irony here, right? So we're in an age where we all know, we've all been told, that the problem with America these days is materialism. And here you are, right, advocating materialism.
I'm advocating healthy materialism.
How does that work?
Well, careful materialism, I think, is actually something that looks at objects not as something we just use up and throw away, but that we invest with meaning. Okay. I mean, it goes back to the sort of material reality of something like a relic in the Middle Ages. I think that kind of, it's a mysterious kind of spiritual value invested in something physical. And we don't really do that anymore. That's what I would call a kind of, a serious, good materialism. We have the kind of, the wasteful materialism, consumerism.
And so you would say that if I read the same text, the same words in a book, it's a different experience.
Well, I think it is. I mean, if you, for example, want to compare, here's my smartphone, and I've got loaded up here a text from Paradise Lost. There's the invocation to Book 3 of Paradise Lost.
Right.
That's one kind of reading. That's a certain kind of experience. I think that's a transitory experience. It's one where the reader can turn it off, can shuffle it, can stop attending very quickly, can multitask, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I compare that with what I do when I teach. This is one of my course textbooks.
Right.
And this is a heavily annotated, dense course textbook. And that's, I told my class I would rather have my car stolen than have this book stolen.
Now, can't you scroll on the margins of a Kindle? I don't have a Kindle,
well,
but they tell me you can scroll on the margins.
Certainly, you have to be able to scroll, or you could never fit the whole text in the window.
Scroll.
Oh, scroll.
Scroll, yeah.
Oh, well, I gather. But it's an ephemeral kind of annotation. The annotations we've got in books that are hundreds of years old are a record, an intellectual record of the reader. And those I don't think are going to be there. I don't think your Kindle notes are going to be there 200 years from
somehow.
Now. But by contrast, then there's the final form of reading. I'm working backwards through time. This is the first illustrated.
Okay, so we had your smartphone, the college text.
Correct.
Right.
And now here is the first illustrated edition of Paradise Lost. Now the fact that it's illustrated is interesting because a modern reader would open this page and instantly focus on the image.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean,
that's
we are.
Sure.
Yeah, we're a society that just is fascinated by iconography, by the thing itself in front of our eyes, and it's not what goes through the eyes so much. I mean, here, this is what's really fascinating. Hail, holy light, offspring of heaven, firstborn, or of the eternal, co-eternal beam, may I express thee unblamed. Now, you could read that on a Kindle. Or you could read it here. And I mean, perhaps the reading is similar, but there's a kind of memorability that goes with this. There's a kind of, you'll be able, if you read it here in this edition, you would come back to it and you would picture those words on the page and you would anchor your experience in time and space.
So, in a sense, what is it? Can we put our finger on it? Literally, or literally or figuratively, can we put our finger on what it is about the book that is worthy of persisting into the 21st, 22nd, 23rd century?
Well, it's kind of a circular argument, I agree. I think the fact that I think people have invested their books with value continues to give them value, to me at least. There's this famous passage in Pride and Prejudice. I am astonished, Miss Bingley says, that my father should have left so small a collection of books. What a delightful library you have at Pemberley, Mr. Darcy. And Darcy, you remember, turns to her and says, "It ought to be good," he replied. "It has been the work of many generations."
So you don't think word files
No, I don't think that's the work of many generations.
are going to be the work of many generations?
Yeah. But I'm sure that reading can adapt to new technologies. I'm just not sure that the attention and the kind of reading, I'm just not sure that we sustain our attention when we read in a modern technology the way we do if we have a book. The book is a formal embodiment of completeness, of integrity. And there's, when you're scrolling through a text, there's no symbolic representation of that integrity. You've got just what you show. You're dealing with morsels, bits.
Right. Literally.
And and you're just browsing.
And so do you think there's, how to put this, is there an aesthetic overlap or some sort of a tendency for us to write more beautifully and to attend to the beauty of the written word when it's the written word?
When it comes off a pen at the end of your hand?
Right. Versus when it comes off a keyboard onto a screen.
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I know the way I write with a pen is more reflective and more, it's more cautious. It's more self-analytical. With a computer, I tend to rely upon conventions more. I mean, what do you do? I mean, when you write with a computer?
Well, of course, you're writing faster. You're cutting and pasting.
That's right.
Your speed of thought is vastly accelerated because it's so easy to fix it. I'll go back and fix it.
It's what Matthew Arnold said about journalism. It's literature in a hurry.
Exactly. I think maybe the place to finish, though, is not with your thoughts and not with my thoughts, but the thoughts of a Nobel laureate.
I like Czesław Miłosz, and we will read the ending of one of his little poems, "And Yet the Books."
And yet the books.
Right. I imagine the earth when I am no more. Nothing happens, no loss. It's still a strange pageant. Women's dresses, dewy lilacs, a song in the valley. Yet the books will be there on the shelves, well-born, derived from people, but also from radiance, heights.
Maybe that's the key. I don't think that I could sigh to a Kindle. Thank you for your time, Eric.
Thanks, Jeff.
I really appreciate
Good.
it.
Yep.